or a replacement for Social Security, you'd have to buy survivor insurance for your family with a face value of $403,000. Now, you know how much it costs to go out and buy insurance. So if you had to buy disability insurance and survivor insurance in addition to your retirement insurance, the cost would be astronomical. What we want to make sure is that everyone understands, especially younger people understand, that they're getting this coverage for free just by continuing to pay in from the regular work that they've engaged in, regardless of how much they make. The final thing that I want to point out is that, of course, when you get to be 65 years old, you also can qualify for Medicare. And Medicare is hospital insurance, Medicare is doctor insurance, Medicare is prescription drug insurance. There's all kinds of critical coverage that is provided by Medicare. And again, this eligibility for Medicare comes along with just working and paying into the Social Security system. Over half of the workforce doesn't have private insurance, and they don't have pension coverage. And so Social Security fills a critical role in helping people who don't have a lot of money to spend on other things to get the coverage they need. There's all kinds of talk about the social safety net. Well, Social Security really is the social safety net. In terms of getting rich, no one ever gets rich on Social Security. But just to use an example with retirement insurance, it would replace about 40% of your pre-retirement income, which is huge. 2/3 of the people on Social Security now rely on it for over half of their income. So that's 2/3 of 48 million people. About 32 million people rely on Social Security for over half of their income. How do you get covered? Well, that's actually pretty straightforward. As you work and you pay taxes into Social Security, you earn credits. And the credits, depending upon the year, and it's not much, I think it's about $5,000 this year. Do you happen to recall, Nancy?
Well, for 1 quarter of credit, it's $1,220.
Okay. So multiply that by 4, and that's $4,880, or about $5,000, that will get you 4 quarters of coverage. You can't get any more than 4 in a particular year, but literally, without making $1 million, you can get fully insured for Social Security in only 10 years of work. It's not like you have to have 100 years or work your entire lifetime. You can get the coverage for survivor and disability and retirement and Medicare insurance by having as little as 10 years of work under the program. In fact, if you're younger than 30, you may need only 2 or 3 years to qualify for disability or survivor benefits. The back of that page also talks about the fact that there are other elements of Social Security that are pretty important. If you have private insurance, some of this stuff doesn't apply. So again, in addition to getting a whole package of retirement, survivor, and disability insurance benefits, Social Security covers pre-existing conditions. It won't kick you out. It's portable as you move around or take different jobs or move to different places. The benefits last a lifetime. It's not like if you have only $100,000, for example, that you can draw that out and run out of it. But with Social Security, you won't. Social Security provides in most years, not last year, but in most years, a cost of living adjustment. And again, in terms of how much it costs the taxpayers, it really doesn't cost a whole lot to get this coverage. So when you are speaking to people about the importance of programs like this, it is an election year. You're going to get the opportunity to vote for candidates. And of course, I'm not about to get fired for recommending one candidate or another to you, but I would just say to you, please, take what you've learned and if you can pass that along to people we would be very, very grateful for your help. One of the things I'm going to talk about, actually I'm going to hand this off to Miss Nancy Ralston, who's a claims representative in my office, is the fact that you can get a lot of this information online. At home, at whatever time of the day or night that you want to log on to the computer and go to our website, which is just Social Security. You just Google Social Security and up will come the website. If you choose to, of course, you can also contact us by telephone, or you can come into the office. We're open from 9 to 4, Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and from 9 to noon on Wednesdays. We take people just as fast as we can. We have really good waiting time in the office. It's only about 7 minutes for people that don't have an appointment, and it's almost immediate for somebody that has an appointment. Nationally, I think it's usually about 20 minutes that you'd have to wait. But again, you can go to any Social Security office in the country. And so one of the things that I stuck on here is a little secrets to getting in touch with Social Security. If you're going to call or if you're going to come in, one of the things I would recommend to you, and that's why I stuck it in bold there, is late in the month, late in the week, and late in the day. It's not likely you're going to get through on Mondays. It's not likely you're going to get through the first week of the month because the phone is literally ringing off the wall. We have 15 people in the office, and we answer the phone just as fast as we can, but there's 50,000 people in our service area that are already on Social Security, and another 4,000 that get benefits from a program called supplemental insurance, and that doesn't include the ones that want to get Social Security or the ones that need new Social Security cards or the ones that didn't get their check or have some other problem. So that little rule about late in the month, late in the week, and late in the day will do you a lot of good when you try to get in touch with us. There's some other stuff there that on that sheet that I think would be useful, but rather than listening to me prattle on, let me give the microphone to Nancy Ralston. She's going to explain a little bit about how you can get information online.
Okay. Has anybody registered for my Social Security account yet? Okay, good. Did you have any problems with it at all? Okay. So what you're going to do with that is you're going to log on to socialsecurity.gov, and you're going to hit the link that says register. And then when you get in there, it's pretty easy. It's going to ask you some out-of-pocket or what we call out-of-wallet questions to identify you to make sure it's you. When I signed up, it asked me, like, who's my mortgage company? When did I open up a certain credit card? Now, after so many tries, it does lock you out of there, so it does get very frustrating. So if you think you just really don't want to go that route, the best way to do it would be just to come into the field office, and what we will do is we will give you an activation code. And that code, we have 2 express computers. You can activate it right there. There'll be somebody there to help you. Or you can take that activation code home with you. And that way you won't have to worry about them out-of-pocket or out-of-wallet questions to get locked out. Now, the benefits of registering for this My Social Security account is it gives you everything you need to know about you, your work history. It's good to look at because you can pull that up, and if you see, well, I know I worked in 1985, but I don't have any earnings posted in 1985. You bring in proof of those earnings, we add them earnings on for you. So it's always a good idea to keep track of making sure everything is correct on your behalf. Another good thing is if you are registered and you're drawing Social Security benefits, say you want to go get a loan, the bank's going to say, we want proof of how much you get from Social Security. You just log onto your computer, into your account, you print that off right there and then, you have access to it, you don't have to wait in our office at all. Another benefit is the 1099s. You'll be able to get those faster than you would in the mail. So, it does have a lot of benefits. I think that would help you be able to expedite anything that you need a whole lot quicker. Now, the tricky part of it is, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to create a username and a password. And the password is where everybody struggles most because it requires 8 characters and a symbol, capital letter, and a number. And so, that's usually seems to be the biggest struggle that we have when people come into the office. So if you're thinking about signing up, you can kind of think about what you would like to use for your username and your password. And it should be smooth sailing for you when you sign up for it. Has anybody had any troubles? Have you gone back into your account since you've registered for it? And took you in okay? No problems? Okay, great. All right. Mm-hmm.
If you're already trying, because I have a nerve disorder, so I've got disability, and at 62 they rolled me over to Social Security. Now, at 65, my husband will retire, so I can start driving his car. Do I have to come into the office to make that happen, or?
Anytime that you are going to be doing a new application, because for each thing that you do, for like your Medicare, that's an application. For your retirement or disability, that's an application. When you're going to be drawing spousal benefits, that's an application. So absolutely, you're going to need to come into the office. Best if you make an appointment so you don't have to sit, in the lobby for very long. But yep, okay?
I wanted to know, because I'm going to have to do it in May, and I wanted to make sure I understood what I need to do.
Okay, yep.
There's only one exception to that rule, and that is if you're getting cash benefits, a monthly Social Security check, and you're getting close to age 65, you'll get a Medicare card in the mail automatically. And it'll say if you want both parts of Medicare, the hospital part and the doctor part, then you just keep the card, you sign it, you put it in the desk for a while. And again, then the month that you turn 65, your Medicare coverage will start. Okay?
I have Medicare now.
Yeah. But again,
It's going to change. I'm going to have more coverage when I turn 65.
no, probably not.
Because I only have, I think, D right now.
Okay, well, we want to make sure then when your husband comes in that you get A also, which is the hospital part, and that'll be really, really good. It's
Pharmaceuticals, is that automatic too?
no, that's a great question. The signing up for a prescription drug program requires an application with a specific company, not regularly through Social Security or Medicare. So, for example, if you wanted to, there's hundreds of companies that you can do with. I don't know, Lisa, is there a recommended, the lady in question, is there a recommended coverage for prescription drugs that you got?
Currently, the tribal people, currently our people that are on tribal insurance, do the tribe, as a tribal member, we already have a plan that they don't have to take Part D. They
Lisa?
don't have to take Part D.
Lisa, will you go talk to them?
Oh, you're fine.
Currently, for our tribal membership that is on the tribal insurance, we do have an insurance for them. They do not have to take Part D. But for other tribal people, it goes based on your ailments, like what you are. So we can help you. We have a kiosk in our office, and we help anybody, tribal members, community. We can get you on that, and you, just like you said, you can get the code from them. And if you feel like you'd like some privacy, we have a kiosk in our office, and you can come use our kiosk, and it's private, and you can just go through, and we're there to help you guide through it too, because it can get complicated. We had a lady come in yesterday. She struggled with the questions, your busyness, knowing her business. So she is going to come down and get her number, and then her and I will go in and look at her stuff, So, but it gives you a lot of information, kind of gives you an idea if you want to take it at 62, 65, wait later. It gives you a lot of information, but it will lock you out sometimes too. So.
I'm not a tribal member, so is there a preferred plan?
You
I-
kind of have to look at what's going on and what current meds you're on, and then kind of go from there.
One of the places that we recommend, we're not supposed to push people, into a particular plan because we're federal employees, but we advise you to contact the Commission on Aging because they're really, really good. They have a computer program. They'll ask you, you make an appointment with them. They'll ask you what medications you're taking right now. And then out of these hundreds and hundreds of plans, they help you pick like 3 that are really cost effective. And they're not going to make the choice for you. You can make the choice on your own. But they're very, very helpful.
And it does ask you historical questions like, do you have like heart issues or this? So it can kind of pre-plan a little bit for you too. Commission on Aging has some really good
Do they
programs.
ask you, like, what runs in your family? What did
Yes, history issues, yes. So they can help you, guide you along. You can change that plan eventually too. You can make changes throughout the year. It's every year you can change that plan. So if it doesn't fit for you, then you can make those changes as you get older.
Yeah, a lot of.
Time you can change it or the fiscal year?
It goes on
Yeah,
a year.
that's exactly right. There's an open season which runs from the middle of October to early December every year, and it gives you a chance to change. So, for example, if you're 65 and you're really healthy and you want to pick the absolute cheapest one, great. But let's say by the time you're 80 years old, your body's starting to catch up with you and you need a little more coverage. Well, again, change your policy to get one that fits your needs at that point. They give you an open season every year to do this. They also have special enrollment periods for people who are moving. So, for example, you're living in Michigan and there's certain plans that are available in Michigan, but you move to Ohio or California or somewhere. Well, you may or may not have those same plans, so they give you an opportunity when you move out of state to get an opportunity to enroll in a plan that does apply in the new state you're residing in. Okay. I also want to go back to a point that I kind of glossed over a minute ago. One of the things that's now available is a replacement Social Security card for people that live in Michigan, which you can do through this online stuff, the computer stuff at your home under My Social Security. So that's a brand new feature. Only 2 or 3 states, and we're one of them, are set up to do that, which is way cool.
Yeah, muchly needed in our community.
Yeah, because it really wore out.
You know, if you do get where you're trying to register for your My Social Security and it just doesn't let you do it, what we find is from time to time it's because there's a mismatch somewhere. Could be something as simple as you were born February 15th, but our records say February 14th. So anytime you come across that, it is a good idea to get in touch with us, come into the office so we can look and make sure our records are accurate. I mean, it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen from time to time, you know, so. And then going back to the prescription component of this, what I'm seeing as a claims specialist is that I'm getting a lot of phone calls of people saying, well, why am I being charged for Part D when I never signed up for anything? So be aware of what comes in your mail because you're going to be hounded by so many that want you to take their plans. So, you know, don't agree to anything over the phone and, you know, read everything that you get in the mail because we are seeing an increase, particularly this time of year since it was just open season where, you know, people didn't realize they were actually switching plans or signing up for something they really didn't want.
Sometimes we're the best place to go and sometimes we're not. Now, let me give you an example. We enroll people in Medicare, but we don't run Medicare for the federal government. Most of the time, there's a teeny tiny little government agency that sends out big contracts. And here in the state of Michigan, Blue Cross and Blue Shield has the contract to run Medicare for the government. So if you have questions about Medicare, you certainly can ask us about enrollment questions. But if you have a specific problem, you may want to call the 1-800-MEDICARE telephone number because it's really good. And again, they're in much better position to answer specific questions about Medicare than we are. Please.
Now, did I hear you correctly? You said you can go on the website and get request replacement? You can request replacement Social Security card?
Yeah.
Yep. You order it. Takes about 10 to 14 days to get to you.
Okay, another question I have, is there a limit on how many replacement cards you can get in a lifetime?
Yes, 10.
They changed this stuff because there's all this concern about illegal immigration and people coming in and identity theft, a number of issues. So they're trying to make very certain that those cards just aren't floating around because they can create a lot of problems for people. We get calls all the time for little sweethearts who have not gotten their Social Security check, and when we go in, somebody has changed it because they have inadvertently given somebody their Social Security number in a telephone call. There's a big thing right now. We got a call this week from our area office in Lansing about all kinds of fraud that's being committed and people not getting their checks because of this. You know, it doesn't just extend to Social Security. There's also people that are filing income tax returns based on your Social Security number and taking your tax refund. So that's really, really.
At no point should any insurance, reputable insurance, ask you for your Social Security number. At no point.
And we.
Blue Shield, Blue Cross Blue Shield, they are not asking for that. They will ask you for your policy number. So do not give the Social Security number out over the phone. In doubt, hang on.
Ma'am.
I have a question regarding the security numbers because I do a lot of family research.
Genealogy?
Yeah, and I found my grandparents' social security numbers right online. So what happens to those
That's
numbers?
an absolutely great question. And the thing about the way the law is written, they didn't think it mattered. So when a person is deceased, there was no protection for an individual's social security number. And so there was no privacy stuff that was attached to that. It was only to protect the living. Well, I understand where you're coming from. And again, I have no ability to change that, but I would say to you, your congressman would be very interested in your comment on that.
If I can easily enough do family research online and find out all kinds of information, and part of that information is a social security number of somebody who died, maybe 25, 30 years ago, whatever. If somebody could take that number and recycle it somehow and use it for, you know how thieves and criminals are. They have ungodly, crazy ideas about how to get around things, and I'm just wondering what they could do.
Right on the head. Identity theft is the largest single growing crime in the United States. It's growing exponentially every year. We're going to hang around, and if you want to ask us specific questions, we'll be glad to stay as long as anybody has questions. So if you're reluctant to ask a question, yeah, Craig.
How about, do you have a handout, or on your handouts, does it show a list of items that you should take with you when you're going down for Medicare issues or Social Security?
I have that sheet. I didn't bring it with me at this one, but I can go get it and bring it back in just a few minutes. A shopping list of proofs that you need? Yeah,
I think that would probably
absolutely.
benefit a lot of the individuals here.
No,
They could be prepared when they go to the Social Security office or go apply for Medicare or something on information that they would need to bring with them.
yeah, absolutely. Again, I have a handout. I just didn't bring it because I didn't want to bury people in paper. I did anyway, but I have no problem at all getting that and bringing it right back. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my husband was 65 last year, and he just retired in January.
Okay.
He was signed up, so he gets his first check. My first question is, because it's going direct deposit, does he get receipts for each month?
Not from us. No. The only way that you'll know that it was deposited is through the bank records.
Right, but, okay, they take taxes, federal taxes, if we
If you ask us to, there's a Form W-4 that your husband can complete, and
find that out.
yeah.
Up for that, so how do I get information about what his receipt is and his taxes and?
I know you're not going to like my answer to this, but from a strict legal point, I can't give you the time of day about your husband's Social Security check. Your husband would be the only person that could request the information from us.
How does he request
Michigan,
that?
had you my Michigan?
If your husband and you guys want to play online at home, that's just a real good way to do that.
I can tell you.
Come over here.
You go into the My Michigan, sign in, and you can look at all that. You can look at what you're getting deposited, not monthly deposit, but you can look at some of the stuff. I can help you if you need some help with that.
He doesn't have an account and it would have to be under his account and he doesn't
Yep.
want to go online and give his information.
Wow, you're not going to get no information only from the bank. You're going to get it from your bank only. You're going to see what's deposited, and you're going to have to figure it out from there. That's what you're going to have to do, because they don't do any paper anymore. It's paperless.
Well, they send enough, they send enough notices. He had an appointment and they send 4 or 5 notices of this appointment. And I don't understand why they have all that paperwork and they can't furnish it.
I would just tell you that the government of the United States doesn't ask us how we should run the thing either. But yeah, I understand. They're trying to they bury you with paper, and then the things that you really need don't come.
Army insurance, I'm covered under Blue Cross Security Tribe.
Okay.
And so he opted out of Part B because he's under my insurance.
Okay, that could be a problem.
He signed a paper saying that he's covered under mine.
Yeah, but see, there could be a real problem with this. Let me see if I can explain. If you were getting your coverage for being an employee and your coverage is based on a large employer group health plan, what your husband did is fine because the government doesn't want you to pay for Medicare, which costs $104.90 a month, and and pay for the insurance on the Blue Cross and Blue Shield plan at the same time. That's not right. So if your coverage is based on your fact that you're working and you're an employee and you're covered under a large employee group health plan, everything's fine. When you get ready to retire, then we will ask for a letter from the tribe saying when your husband's coverage under the employee group health plan ends, and he can come down and file for what's called a special enrollment period. And the special enrollment period will start the very next month, your coverage ends in June. As of July 1st, the Medicare coverage will pick up. And the most important thing is there will be no penalty because normally if you don't sign up for Part B, the doctor part of Medicare, when you're 65, then they add 10% per year for each year that you wait. So if you waited to 70, your premiums would be 50% more for the rest of your life. So that's a very, very, very big deal. And so this special enrollment period is really, really important. So again, normally you should come down and file for Medicare at 65, even if you plan to work, even if you don't have any retirement plans, make sure that you come down and sign up for Part A of Medicare. We'll talk to you about Part B and talk to you about employee health coverage plans, but you want to make sure, you want to verify that with your employer or your spouse's employer that you have that coverage because I don't want you to get penalized an extra 10%.
So if you're actively working for the tribe, one of you or your spouse are actively working, period, and you have an actively working employee-based insurance, you do not have to get Part B. But if you're not actively working and you have a private insurance or you have just insurance and it's not employee-based, not earning it, you have to take your Part B. Otherwise, you're penalized. If you're working, no penalty. If you're not working, penalized if you don't do it on time.
They also have a penalty for delaying the prescription drug plan. So that's even more expensive. That's 1% per month. So if, for example, you waited till 70 to sign up for that also, it would be 60% more. That would be five years times 12 months would be 60% more. And again, that would stay with you for the rest of your life. So it's really important when the Medicare stuff comes up that you check and verify before you say no that you don't want it.
Probably the most important thing, going to your question about what to bring when a person's signing up for Medicare, if you're signing up for yourself on your own Social Security number, we just need you to come in, bring a valid driver's license, state ID, passport. If you are drawing off a spouse, you need to bring that marriage certificate. That's all you need to bring in when you're coming in to sign up.
Or
If
yeah.
you're married and
10 years with your spouse and you're drawing off them, you have to have your divorce decree.
along with the marriage certificate.
But again, the Part D, if you're actively working, like April said, if you're actively working, you don't have to have your Part D. You've got employee-based insurance. If you don't have that, then you need to be applying for your Part D, or you will be penalized. So, if you're working, great. If not, oh boy, you better be there.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, if, like, since I'm younger and I'm not close to 65, is there anything I should be doing now to prepare myself?
Working.
Just, well, I am working, but I don't have to, like, have an account.
Seriously. The provisions for Social Security retirement is, based on being at least 62. And again, as long as you have 10 years of work, you're going to be guaranteed some sort of benefit. The longer you pay in and the more you make, of course, the larger your benefit becomes. But again, only 10 years of work will get you covered for a retirement benefit. It will get you covered for a survivor benefit. It will get you covered for a Medicare benefit.
You might want to consider each year that they report your earnings correctly to the Social Security Administration.
One of the great things about this website is that you can go on it right now at your age and find out at least a ballpark figure of what your retirement and survivor and disability benefits would be if something happened to you. It gives you real comfort to actually be able to go online and take a look at that. We thought about trying to set up something here so that while we were here, we could play with the computer and take a look at that stuff. But I'm sure Lisa's set up to do that at her office. And again, if you want to come in, we'll spend all kinds of time with you to give you a benefit estimate so that you know what you're looking at. And again, the nice thing about playing at home is that you can say, well, I thought about retiring at 62, but what if I worked until I was 63 or 64? You can go in and plunk those things in, and it'll give you the difference on the rates on that. Well, what if I stopped working when I was, 55? What difference would that make? Again, you can play with the estimator on there, which is way cool. And it's really easy and kind of fun. Please.
I have a question on my box 3 on my W-2.
I wouldn't know what box 3 is if my life depended on it.
The box that tells what Social Security earnings we have
Okay.
an employer that gets reported.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Do you know who I would contact besides the employer?
Yeah, you'd start with your employer. Because, again, the only information we're going to have is what your employer told us and what they told the Internal Revenue Service. Yeah. No, I'd start with the employer because, yeah. Yeah, again, if you go onto our website, for example, and you see that the posting for a particular year isn't what's on your W-2 or what's, we can take a look at that, but basically we're going to tell you, bring your W-2 in and we'll correct it. Yeah, sometimes you get employers that run out of money and so they don't necessarily pay taxes, or, there are people who companies that file for bankruptcy and all kinds of stuff happens. So just because you worked and you should have gotten the credit doesn't mean that you actually got the credit. Ma'am.
Okay, is it like mine I can draw when I'm 62, right?
Well, there's all kinds of ages. For retirement benefits, yes, age 62 is the earliest that you can start. But if you were a survivor, if you were a widow, for example, your benefits could start as early as age 60 based on your age, and if you were disabled, as early as age 50. So Social Security is really complex. There's all kinds of programs. There's all kinds of rules. And again, the best place to start is to come down and talk to us because that's what we're there for. My job is to make sure that you get the most out of the program.
Like, okay, I can start drawing it at 62, but it says if I draw it at 65, I get this amount of this.
You get more, yeah.
Okay, if I was to take that money from 62 to 3 years and put it in the bank, would that
help?
outweigh my waiting till I was 65 and starting?
Okay. If you didn't hear the question is, what's the advantage of starting earlier rather than waiting? And I'm gonna answer that, but I'm gonna hand the microphone to Nancy because I use my hands here. So we're kind of like glorified bookies in a sense because we don't tell. We tell you what the odds are, but we don't place the bets. You're placing the bet, and basically, you're gambling in how long you think you're going to live.
That's what
Okay.
it was like. Do you nail it now? Because
There you go.
we're not promised tomorrow.
Right. So let me lay a couple of options on you. These are some of your choices. Okay. Here's an example. I want to use one of those old plate scales. You remember those things? Okay. So on this side, I don't want to throw the interest stuff in here because that throws something else in the calculation. But from a strict Social Security standpoint, if you start your checks at 62, over the course of 4 years, your full retirement age is going to be 66 if you were born between 1943 and 1954. Okay? So if your choice is starting at 62 or waiting until there's no reduction in your checks, which is at 66, you got 4 years of checks, right? That's a chunk of money. On the other hand, if you wait until you're 66, you're going to get 25% in your check each month for the rest of your life. Okay?
25%?
25% per month for the rest of your life. So if you're using that plate scale, it's going to take you 12 years until you're 68 years old before you break even. So here's the bet. If your mother and dad were passed away when they were 70 and you've already had a heart attack and you've got one foot on a banana peel and you know where the other foot is, then maybe you want to take the money and run. Take those benefits at 62. If, on the other hand, mom and dad are doing fine, thank you, at 80-some years old, and you're in pretty good health, maybe it's better to wait the extra time and collect a larger Social Security check, okay? The longer you go, the larger your check gets. Now, one of the things that people don't know is that in addition to getting a larger check by waiting for till your full retirement age, there's something called delayed retirement credits that are available from 66 to 70. Okay? That benefit is done on a monthly basis also, and it's a total of about 8% per year. So your benefit at 66 could be as much as 32% higher at age 70. So the difference between just to use an example, if, let's say somebody had a benefit at age 66 of exactly $1,000 per month, okay? If they started as early as 62, which is the earliest you can start, your check would only be $750 a month. If, on the other hand, you waited till you were 70, your Social Security check would be $1,320 per month. That means that you've nearly doubled your Social Security check by waiting 8 years. Now, I'm going to tell you, I put my money where my mouth is. I switched from the civil service system to Social Security because I thought it was the safest thing that I could do with my own money. And again, I'm 67 years old, and I'm still working, and I'm still paying in, and I'm delaying it because I think that I have to worry because my father and his brothers all lived until their mid-90s. So I think that I'm going to need that money later on in life. And so I'm working to try to get those delayed retirement credits to make my own benefit higher, and because I have a wife, and her survivor benefits are going to be based on mine. And so I'm trying to take care of her too by working and paying in and getting the delayed retirement credits. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that's so nice you love your wife.
I love her very much. If you met her, she'd know she's a total sweetheart. Ma'am.
No, my husband is going to turn 66 in July.
Okay.
He's debating on whether he wants to retire or if he wants to work a little bit more. Do I have to wait to draw on his Social Security?
Yeah.
Can he apply for retirement and then defer it so that I can withdraw it?
We would have said yes up until last October, and the Congress passed a piece of legislation. The name of it is called the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015, and it screwed up all the rules that we had. We used to talk about two things. One was called start and switch, and the other is called file and suspend. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Your husband would have to make some real critical decisions before April 29th of this year if you want to take advantage, if he wants to take advantage for it. But for most people, especially people whose birthday is in 1954 or later, those options just went away. Okay, so you've got a real specific window of opportunity here for your husband, and I can't tell you what to do because I don't have enough information. But if you want to drag him down and talk to us, please do it before April 29th of this year to make sure that we give him the best information we can. I know you guys all have questions. I want to assure you that's what we're there for. We're there to help. Literally, we get paid for making sure you get the most out of the program. If you choose to do something that doesn't work out, it won't be because we didn't tell you. Okay? Does that help? Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Help me decide on your 1,400. Thank you very much. He said 60, 63. Of course.
course.